You are listening to the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. We love our friends at the Glebe Central Pub. It's your neighborhood pub in the heart of the Glebe. Great people, great food, and tasty drinks. Visit them at 779 Bank Street and tell them Locked On Senators sent you. The vibes are high. The Ottawa Senators have won 4 in a row thanks to a 6-3 win over the Detroit Red Wings. I'm Ross Levitan, and we appreciate everyone's patience. The postcast is coming a little later than usual, as I've been at the Canada Life Center here calling the Belleville Senators and Manitoba Moose, the first of 2 weekend games. I'll touch on that at the end, but the vibes are too high around the Ottawa Senators to be starting with that. Pilsy, of course, and our boy at Laleem's Martian will be back in the chat tomorrow, and we'll wrap up the entire weekend for the Ottawa Senators. But Pilsy had to run to his farm. Wi-Fi is brutal. We've already been having some audio issues that we believe are fixed. So I decided to call in and say, you know what? I'm already in the CLC, which is just down the road, we'll say, from the CTC. But up in the press box here right now, and we've got a great show for you. I've got one of my oldest members of the Locked On Senators crew going to join us soon here in Brendan Purdy, a Detroit Red Wings fan. But he texted me after. He said, man, this Senators team is for real. We'll also get to our Sen Central standouts as we do each and every postcast here on the Locked On Senators podcast. And this game started on the wrong side with Joe Veleno open the scoring just 2 minutes and 30 seconds in, assist to Dominic Kubalik and Soderblom as well. But Drake Batherson answers just after. Tough angle shot, made no mistake, upstairs, short side. And Alex DeBrincat with his 19th assist, his first of 3. Yes, 3 more assists, just the same number he had against Montreal on Wednesday. He gets the primary assist, Shane Pinto as well. Adam Ernie makes it 2-1 Detroit, but Thomas Chabot answered back on the power play. Assists go to Alex DeBrincat and Brady Tkachuk. Drake Batherson also opened the scoring in the second period, his 10th of the year from Tkachuk and DeBrincat, making it 3-2 Ottawa. However, Philip Hronik would tie it up later on a power play. In the third, Claude Giroux, how much fun does he look like he's having out there? He gets his 13th of the year unassisted. Tyler Mott gets a shorty, and Austin Watson does the same. So special teams really came through for Ottawa in this game. Not only is it 4 wins in a row, not only do they hold Detroit to no loser point, which was crucial with the standings the way they are, but I don't know if you guys have checked the standings today. It is a dogfight, and we expect that to continue. The Senators have officially put their hat in the ring, back at 500 on the season, a 14-14-2 record for them. The goal differential back above 0. Love to see that green number there, +1, as they continue their road trip tomorrow in Minnesota. We'll get to the chat as well in a little bit. Obviously, I can't be as active looking at the chat as I'm trying to drive the bus and navigate. I don't know if anybody's driven alone without a GPS in the car, but not as easy as straight road here. But Footy's hooking me up with the headphones, so we're all set for a great show here. And Brendan Purdy is a character. I don't know if you guys have seen or heard from him recently. He's a sports director at Global in Regina now. Good sass boy. But when this was just a podcast in our college, he was our producer. Always had a lot of fun. So the OGs might remember Brendan Purdy. He's going to jump on soon. We'll have some fun there as well. So we saw the goggle video already. That's usually the first question, is who's going to get the goggles. This time Jake Lucchini had them. I still haven't had a chance to watch the goggle video. I went through the game, watched the condensed game after Belleville lost 6-2, by the way, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, 8-2-1, Joe mentioning in the chat. That's fantastic. Love to see the Senators put together a longer streak, right? We've seen them in spurts play better, but for them to consistently rack up points, it's absolutely great. So how was it that Jake Lucchini handed it? Because I got to think like, hey, I kept your seat warm for you, but that's your spot on the third line. Like I just see Jake Lucchini, and talking to David Foote here, the voice of the Belleville Sens, he's just salt of the earth. Always the first guy to do community service, and always the first guy to stand up and do what's right. So great to see he's being respected by even staying in the lineup. They could have easily probably sent him down as Tyler Mott returned from injury, and now we'll see what's next. I'm really excited to see tomorrow's game because it looks like we're going to get another opportunity to face a former Sens goalie. Oh my goodness. I'm almost nervous to say that because Philip Gustafsson has been playing some great hockey for Minnesota, 5-0 in his last 5 starts. Of course, his next one will be tomorrow against the Ottawa Senators, in all likelihood, as Marc-Andre Fleury played Friday night as the Minnesota Wild won their 4th in a row. So it's going to be 2 win streaks of 4 games going head-to-head, but let's dive into this game against Detroit a little bit more from this afternoon. Now, what's everyone feeling about Detroit? Like, going into the season, it was a lot of, okay, our young guys are taking a step, your young guys are taking the step. From the highlights I watched, guys, it didn't look like Lucas Raymond was buzzing around. I know Timmy wasn't either, but he wasn't dressed. It looked like Lucas Raymond was, just another guy out there. So I thought that was interesting, as I thought he was for sure going to take a step forward in his development, as we saw him do throughout his rookie season in the National Hockey League. But Philip Zadina, was he a healthy scratch, or? Oh my goodness. Geez, no, maybe injured, because I see the scratches here. Austin Charnick, Gustav Lindstrom, and Magnus Hellberg. Good that we got to avoid him. Pilsey would have not known what to do. I think the biggest story here, though, in this game is Alex DeBrincat. We tweeted out his numbers at Send Central this morning. The points per game against the Detroit Red Wings higher than anybody else that Alex DeBrincat has faced in his career, except for the Anaheim Ducks. But of course, those 2 games that Ottawa dominated Anaheim this season helped him. Alex DeBrincat, going into today, was 16 games, 10 goals, 13 assists for 23 points against his home state team. The Michigan native has 3 more assists, and he set a franchise record today with 8 straight goals being contributed on. And out of those 8 goals, I believe 6 were assists, and 5 of those primary assists. So take that narrative that I heard on the Detroit broadcast. Did you guys hear that? The Detroit broadcast, at Williams Martian pointed out, they said that Alex DeBrincat is struggling this year. He's got 31 points in 29 games. I don't know how that's struggling, but clearly the narrative is that if he's not scoring goals, all of a sudden he's not playing well. But the assists are coming. He's turning himself into a playmaker. And when Ottawa, before they got on this winning streak, we were talking about how the secondary scoring just wasn't there. And sure, you can blame the injuries down the middle, but they were a one-line team. Brady Tkachuk, Claude Giroux, and when healthy, Tim Stützle were doing all the damage. And now you look at an 8-game point streak for Alex DeBrincat, a 7-game point streak for Drake Batherson, and they're doing this with Shane Pinto coming along down the middle as well. So you just think what the opportunities and options are once Josh Norris comes back, once Tim Stützle is ready to return. Even Mathieu Joseph, who looks to be a couple weeks away, it's just going to make everyone kind of slot back into place. And I just cannot wait to see what this team's going to look like down the middle, on the wings, and even on the back end, as we saw Jacob Bernard-Docker wearing a contact jersey at practice. So what's the next step for him? We'll find that out sooner rather than later, right here as we go down the road trip. The Ottawa Senators are going to be right here, guys, on Tuesday. As you can see my perch over top here, the ice at the Canada Life Center, downtown Winnipeg, Manitoba. Nice snowy afternoon, but the vibes are just high. I absolutely love to see it. And Christine's making a very good point here. DeBrincat's hockey sense just off the charts. Fantastic to see the production match what we're seeing each and every game. Like, it looks like he's doing the right things, and then all of a sudden you're like, where's the points? Where's the points? Still getting robbed. He could have had 2 goals tonight from the clips that we saw in this game as well. So really great to see that the production's coming from him. Thomas Chabot with the power play goal. What's that? His 5th power play goal of the season, I want to say. 5th power play goal of the season. He's up to 9 power play points, 17 points in 25 games. And how perfect is this, guys? 21 minutes and 58 seconds. You don't have to burn Thomas Chabot out for him to be an effective player for you. Au contraire, mes amis, you can have Thomas Chabot playing a respectable 1A-B situation type minutes and still come out on top. Obviously, it helps that once the Senators took the lead in the second period, they did not relinquish it. But you could have easily seen another game where DJ Smith just keeps going back to him. But I love the fact that he's playing a little bit less, and it's just going to save him, because the Sens are in such a busy part of their schedule right now, playing 3 games in 4 days, going to Minnesota tomorrow, and then in Winnipeg on Tuesday for what should be a great game. Now, Winnipeg's got a ton of injuries too. Blake Wheeler will not be in that game. He just had groin surgery. You add that with Mainen-Lainen, Nikolai Ehlers, tons of other guys out of the lineup for Winnipeg. So that's going to be a huge opportunity, as Winnipeg will also be playing its 3rd game in 4 nights, and they're out on the road in Vancouver, in Seattle, and then they're going to be coming down to regroup and play the Sens. So I'm interested to see that game on Tuesday. It's going to be a battle of attrition. Who's going to be the more mentally strong team with so much travel in the mix? At least Ottawa only has to go a hop, skip, and a jump. It's about a 1 hour flight, if that Ottawa will have to jump up from Minnesota to get to Winnipeg. So really fired up for that. I want to get into some Sen Central standouts. Brandon Purdy will jump on in just a minute as well. But first, of course, we got to tell you that today's episode, as it is all season, is brought to you by our friends at the Glebe Central Pub. Visit the Glebe Central Pub on Bank Street. See it for yourself. Our boy Kevin Jimena walked by it yesterday on his way to the 67s game. You can either go there, you can go whether it's for a night out with your friends or to catch the Ottawa Senators shuttle that they're running throughout the holiday season and beyond. It's going to be great to see a lot of our listeners. We even had a few people at the bar today. Love seeing that. I can't wait for my next trip to Ottawa. We're going to try to get there for that Chris Neil game in the middle of February, right after Valentine's Day. So, got to take the wife out for a nice meal and then try to sneak away for that long weekend, the family day weekend. That's the word I'm looking for there. The Sens are turning themselves into a family. The vibes are so good inside those locker room videos. I can't wait to continue to see those. And yeah, we're either going to do a watch party there. We're going to do either a live show. We're going to figure out a way that that our friends at Glebe Central Pub are your spot to go in the heart of the Glebe for tasty drinks, great people, great food. Love the relationship that we've been able to get with the GM there, the owner. Everybody's just good people. They just want to be a supplier for you to be able to go there and enjoy yourself. So go check them out at the Glebe Central Pub and check out their shuttles, glebecentralpub.com. They're running a shuttle on the 22nd, the 23rd, which is going to be against Detroit again. It's going to be a great time in Ottawa as the vibes continue to rise, just like the Senators are in the standings, as they are now a 500 hockey team. Oh my goodness. It's been since when? November 2nd, I want to say, after that Tampa Bay loss. Is that when they fell below 500? Because they were 4-2, and then they went down to Florida, should have won that game, didn't, and then they lose in Tampa. Sorry, I'm doing some work on the fly here. Yes, man, pat on the back. Was against Tampa, where they fell to 4-5 on the season. Then they lost their next 5 games. So they have been battling their way back. They finally make it back to 500, and I got carried away there. Our friends at Glebe Central Pub. Let me just finish the ad real quick. My friend at Glebe Central Pub, your friends at Glebe Central Pub. We all love the Glebe Central Pub, so check them out at 779 Bank Street for great drinks, great food, and amazing people. It's the Glebe Central Pub, the official sponsor of the Locked On Senators Postcast. All right, Billsy Martian. Guys, anybody? No, it's just me. You're stuck with me today, but we're going to have some fun here after I'm looking at the score here. In Winnipeg, it wasn't as good as it was in Detroit today. Belleville losing 6-2. I'll touch on that at the very end, but we also need to discuss the Sen Central standouts in this game. Hippopotamus wants to give a shout out to Nikita Zaitsev, which we absolutely have been doing. I want to say, we were hard on him. But since he's been back from since he's been back from his time in Belleville with Troy Mann, who, by the way, funny aside, walked by Troy Mann today, and I guess David Foote had mentioned that I was calling the game with him, right? All that. Troy comes up to me, and he goes, "Hey, why haven't you invited me on the show yet?" So Troy Mann coming on the show, I had nothing to say to him. I was just like, sorry, we'd obviously love to have you. I just didn't know when the best time is or anything like that. So Troy Mann coming up on Locked On Senators here in the next little while. But yeah, the criticism for Nikita Zaitsev, I think, was certainly due. Now, I saw some people had a little issue with a couple of the plays that he made today. I still need to watch back the game in full, which I will do at some point tomorrow evening. I appreciate everyone mentioning that I look all right. I woke up at 3:45 this morning, and I'll be doing the same tomorrow. It's a morning shift. And then I wasn't going to turn down an opportunity to do this Belleville game today and tomorrow. But let's get to the Ottawa Senators game, right? This is the postcast for the Ottawa Senators 6-3 victory over the Detroit Red Wings, where the Sens got 5 of their goals on special teams. That's in itself spectacular. We know the power play has been lights out for the last stretch. 3 for 5 today. What's been your favorite part of the power play? Is it DeBrincat moving back over to the left side, allowing that one-timer to open up for him? Or is it what we're seeing down low with Brady just jamming away? How funny was that clip? I believe it was the fourth goal where Brady Tkachuk is just laying on the front. Yeah, I think it was the Claude Giroux goal, the go-ahead goal, 8 minutes into the third period, where Brady Tkachuk is just laying on his back, just stick in the air. Absolutely love that. No, Christine, no afternoon naps. We go right. I work right across the street from the rink, so I just walked over here, and word is that Pierre Dorion will be at the game tomorrow. So maybe I'll have to do a double ender, get Pierre Dorion and Troy Mann both on the show together. Going to be really fun. So we're 2 minutes away from getting Brett Purdy on here. Going to be super fun too. He's a Prairie boy. I know we got some Prairie boys in the chat. You guys are going to be right at home with Brendan Purdy, Detroit Red Wings super fan, but the guy knows a little bit of puck as well. So we'll get him on in just a moment. Hopefully he has a Send Central standout already set up for me, because I've got a couple in my chamber, but I want to give the guest an opportunity to do this first. So the Ottawa Senators win 6-3, 5 of their goals on special teams. That in itself is worthy of a round of applause. I'm sure DJ Smith pretty happy with his fellas after tonight's game. Quick turnaround though. The Ottawa Senators are in Minnesota for I always have to do the time change here on the fly. 2:00 Eastern start, 1:00 Central for me, and Manitoba is hosting Belleville too. So the postcast will not be as late tomorrow. We'll have Pilsy back for that. Martian's going to join as well, and then I'll jump in as I can afterwards. But we appreciate everyone knowing that the postcast will be after every single Ottawa Senators game. No days off. We started it as just for fun, try to get a couple extra subscribers. It turned into like my favorite part of the show, the immediate reaction. That's what it's all about right here on the Locked On Senators postcast. And without further ado, we'll rewind the clock to the Making Sense of the Sens days, back when Brendan Purdy would do his Prairie Fire segment. And if you had told me then that I would live on the prairies, I would have told you you're crazy. Purdy, what would you have said to me if I said that I was going to move to the prairies just a couple of years after our time at the College of Sports Media?
Roscoe, I wouldn't believe you. Not a snowflake.
I got to get your audio all figured out. Or maybe it's where I'm hearing the audio here. Want to try it again?
Yeah, we good? You got me now?
Yeah. What's going on, brother?
There we go. So it's our time in Toronto. I remember how cold you were in those Ontario winters. I can't believe these frigid prairie temperatures. So good on you. You know, it's good growth to see out of you.
Good stuff. So you caught this game start to finish. I mentioned to everyone here that you are a Detroit Red Wings fan. I've seen you on the outdoor rink with your Gordie Howe sweater and all that. You got to respect the original 6 move there. But from an outsider's perspective, I mean, from a standpoint of someone who doesn't watch every single Ottawa Senators game, what were your thoughts on how they played in this afternoon's tilt?
I mean, resiliency, and more resilience. In the first was huge. The Shabbat power play goal. That power play, like we were talking about this afternoon, calling your game today in the AHL, the resiliency of this team to just battle back and Ottawa in that first period, and then just coming out the back half of that game, period 2, period 3, it was all Ottawa clicking. That was all they could do. Now, Husso played a great game. Like, the Senators could have absolutely easily, if it wasn't for the play of the Red Wings goaltender.
All right, we're going to keep you on for one more just because we're having a little audio trouble. I think this is a restream issue more than anything, because it's happened to Pilsy recently too. Are you on your headphones right now?
Yeah, let's see.
If you unplug your phone sideways, and I think you'll be all set. I got to set up footy because I got the proper headphones on now. Try me again, Purdy. How many times did I used to do that too, eh?
Oh man, I can't. Same first names, too similar. Audio still no good.
No, it's cutting in and out. This is brutal. It happened to Parliament too. So at one point we had Parley, Pilsy, and Purdy. So I was just in a mental pretzel. Purds, we got to make this work here. Otherwise, I'll let you go and we'll catch up soon. That's the beauty of live radio. But I want your Send Central standout from this afternoon's game. Who stood out for Ottawa?
Contest. It's a guy that I've had the pleasure of covering in my professional career. From the time he was a team, lighting it up and winning a Chanel Cup with the Prince Albert Raiders. Parker Kelly, a great bottom 6 player, a gutsy PKer. Just I've loved watching his growth and becoming an everyday NHLer, and he stood out to me. He was great tonight, tenacious in the defensive zone.
Well, you just made about 142 new friends, Purdy, because everyone else here loves Parker Kelly. We always have a hot lunch, always saying that Parker Kelly is his homeboy. You are my homeboy, Purdy, and we got to do this again soon. Got to get you on a proper headphone. We'll do a proper test next time. I got caught in a time vortex, as I like to do, trying to switch between Eastern and Central time, forgetting that you're actually in the same time zone as me. So that's on me for letting that one go. But hey, we have 2 more opportunities here with Detroit and Ottawa coming up in the next couple of weeks. So let's get you all proper set up, and you get a chat with Pillsy that way too.
Oh, 100% to maybe like episode 14, between episode 14 and episode 50, and go find an old prank. I can get my own theme music.
You certainly did. We'll get that back as well. Purdy, I appreciate you jumping on, man, running home. Unfortunate about the audio, but we still heard you enough to know that Parker Kelly, we're getting a ton of Parker Kelly love in the chat after that one. I know you love your Sasky boys there as well. I know he's Canmore, but playing there in Prince Albert.
Watch some footage of him in, I think it's 2019 run. I was there the night that time. Noah Gregor to Dante Hanoun backdoor tap in. One of the best celebrations when you're all you Locked On Sens fans. Go watch that overtime game winner and watch Hanoun celebrate it.
I love it. All right, Purdy, we'll chat with you soon, brother. Really appreciate the time. We'll do this again soon. And for everyone mentioning Parker Kelly there, my favorite side story about his WHL career is you can go find a time that he fought Mark Kastelik, of all people. Parker Kelly dropping the gloves with a guy much bigger, and that's almost what happened in tonight's game. I'll get to with Belleville and Manitoba. But first, I also want to mention Claude Giroux, because people said I was crazy. I got the receipts, don't worry, but I'm waiting to use them. When I said that Claude Giroux would hit 77 points on the season and therefore hit 1,000 in his NHL career. Well, he's at 26 in 29, and he is well on his way to hitting that milestone. Cannot wait for when it happens. Not if, when Claude Giroux hits 1,000 points in the National Hockey League. Yes, Hannah, Pillsy has a farm, no sheep, no cows. Pillsy has chickens. If you know what, I want everyone in the chat to guess how many chickens Pillsy has at his farm. It is going to blow your mind. At least it blew my mind the first time I ever heard it. I need some guesses in the chat. How many chickens does Pillsy have at his farm? I wish I could play the Jeopardy. You guys are so far off. It is unbelievable. Guys, he has 60,000 chickens at his farm running around near Fergus, Ontario. 60,000. Nobody is even close. My favorite days are when he says he says he has to go and clean up after them, because they raise the chickens. They don't actually process them, I guess, for lack of a better term. But what he'll do is he goes and cleans up after them. And I say, man, doesn't that smell bad? And he replies, he goes, it smells like money. So I always get a kick out of that, because he's in there working, man. He doesn't just sit around and count dollars. He's in there shoveling manure, which is what obviously smells. Yeah, certainly. But oh yeah, well, Farm to Fork is the best premium seafood and meat company going. But no, it smells like money, guys. Come on. So yeah, Pillsy, he got, because everyone was asking about his bit rate, everyone was asking about his internet connection. So he messaged his brother. He's like, "Hey, can you guys let me know what the connection is? Because I want to be able to do the postcast. That way we wouldn't have had to wait." And Pillsy gets it back, and it's 5 times slower than what it is in Collingwood for him. So he just said it's going to be worse than Purdy's there. And so I decided, you know what? I'll pull it up so we can absolutely get into this a little bit more here with Purdy saying he needs to invest in real headphones. Yes, you do. But I also think this system that we use, Restream, not the best. We'll get into we don't really need to peel back the curtain on that, but we are trying to get on to what's called StreamYard. So really, really fired up to get that. And audio is just coming out right now. How about Drake Batherson after the game, just with the most respect you can give a guy with Claude Giroux. Quote, he's the best, been around for such a long time, unbelievable stories and keeps it loose. At the same time, shows up to work every day and is a great leader for us. We're lucky to have him. We certainly are. Like, we've been trying to will it to happen over the last number of years, and now it's here. Claude Giroux is an Ottawa Senator, likely for the rest of his career, which would just be an unbelievable story if let's say it's just like Joe Pavelski. I love comparing those two guys because they've both been captains in one spot, decide to go somewhere else in their career. Pavelski's still a point per game player now 4 years later. So can Claude Giroux have that same longevity? I hope so. Joe Pavelski's 3 years older, right? He's from that stacked 2003 draft, 7th round pick, by the way. So obviously a little different with Claude Giroux being a first rounder, but I think that if those two kind of go on that same trajectory where they were a center at one point, now they're wingers, but they're still helping out their centermen. They're both amazing face-off men. I really see Claude Giroux. And how about that Ottawa tourism video he did basically for a Players Tribune where Claude Giroux brought people around to all the locations you go in Ottawa, right? A poutine shop in the Canadian Tire parking lot around the canal. Yeah, and Graham mentioned the perfect human trait for sure. But Claude Giroux mentioning in that video that he wants to play as long as he can so that his kids can understand the NHL lifestyle a little bit better. You always feel for like Mark Mathod, who's going to come back on Monday's Locked On Senators. He's saying like, it sucks that my kids didn't get to experience me being in the NHL. Now, I'm sure there's some benefits to it, of course, at the same time, but I do think that that's something cool that players want for them and for their families. So I'm excited to see if and how long we'll see Claude Giroux back in the lineup. So obviously, tons to choose from for Sen Central standouts. You knew that Brendan Purdy was going to go with someone who played on the prairies. Zero surprise there in my mind. Now, Parker Kelly did have a nice night, right? He had a lot to do with that. Was it the second goal? I'm just pulling it back up right now. The Tyler Mock goal, of course, the insurance goal, that shorthanded play, blocked a shot, really creates that rush going the other way. So I love that for him, but you could really choose anyone from the penalty kill or the power play. And how about Steve's got to be in the chat. Steve G, I saw you mention, you're like, Austin Watson, that's your locked on player to watch. Well, hey, Pilsy must have been onto something there because he only plays 9 minutes, but he ends up scoring that late goal shorthanded to really put this one to bed. Rockabye, baby. The goal scorers tonight for Ottawa, Drake Batherson had 2, Tyler Mott with a goal, Austin Watson as well, and Thomas Chabot on the power play. Chabot, what a player, man. This guy's playing some of the best hockey in his young career. I shouldn't even say young career, man. These guys are growing up so quick in front of our eyes. Thomas Chabot now almost 25, 26 years old. How about Cam Talbot? Can we talk about Talbot? Because I don't think I loved many of those goals, but he still made some great saves at the time. Now, here's the real question. This is probably me trying to force a revenge game. In the chat, let me know. Like, do you go with Anton Forsberg? It's like kind of the easy call, right? You go with Anton Forsberg, or do you get crazy? And do we get a 1-for-1? How often is it a 1-for-1 goalie trade where the two guys would go head to head the next year? I would love to see Cam Talbot go again tomorrow, but I understand also coming off a bit of an illness, right? He missed practice those couple days, but he's been rolling so well. I mean, okay, did Talbot say he wants to play in Minnesota? Keep him in, man. Keep him in. I like that. Yeah, Jack mentioning that Watson takes too many penalties. Like, I don't think he needs to be on the team that much longer. Like, let's be clear about that. But certainly, there's something in the water when he plays Detroit, his hometown team. That's now 5 points in his last 5 games against Detroit. So, hey, there's got to be something to be said. Even Tyler Mott. Tyler Mott had some amazing years at the University of Michigan. He played on a line there with JT Compher, who's been an NHLer, but also Kyle Connor. Ever heard of him? He scored a few goals in this building I'm sitting in right now as I'm up in the press box at the Canada Life Center, but he's obviously been an unbelievable player at the NHL level as well, but good to see Tyler Mott going back to his roots and playing well. Josh mentioning on Twitter right here, all right, let's see this from Josh. I like this. I wonder, let us know if you're in the chat there, Josh, as well. I'm going to, Cam's 35 years old as I answer a question in the chat. Let's see how I can pull this up here. Producer extraordinaire. I got to take my name graph off. So, Senators, after 30 games, so we're not quite at the halfway mark right now, but the Ottawa Senators, after 30 games, are now 14, 14, and 2. That's the most wins they've had in the first 30 games since 2016, 2017. We all know what happened that year. Yeah, they had 13 wins in 2018-19. That was a pretty brutal season overall. They really hit the skids in the new year. But all in all, you just want to see improvement. And it was so tough to watch that 7-game losing streak towards the start of the season, where only in the 7th game did they get one loser point there. I'm ready to give DJ Smith some credit. I'm ready. Graham's asking, when does he get some love for hitting 500? He made some legitimate changes, and we're going to get into those with Mark Mathot next week. Because he is, yeah, Joe Bell must need a blank with how cold his seat's gotten. Yeah, he's sitting on the ice at center ice here, Canada Life Center. That's how cold his seat is now. But you gotta respect it. We said all along that, I mean, there were times where we're like, hey, is there a change coming? But it's really a matter of they needed some sort of change, and it's easier to change the coach than the players. Sure, there were some schematic things that we didn't love, but what they've figured out on the power play now, better late than never. And they figured it out. This power play, like, what is it since November 24th? I need to pull this up right now because it has to be top 5, if not higher. I mean, what is it? It's top 5 in the NHL over the course of the entire season. The Ottawa Senators are 4th in the National Hockey League in power play percentage. But if I go that fateful night in Anaheim on American Thanksgiving, the Ottawa Senators are tied with Pittsburgh and Toronto for the most points in the National Hockey League. And yes, there's a bit of an asterisk there because Ottawa's obviously playing an afternoon game today, so there's still plenty of out-of-town scoreboard watching to do. But they have the best power play in the National Hockey League over that span. 37.3%. 37.3%. As Pilsy would say, that is the equivalent of the Team Canada World Junior power play often. Like, that's elite. So for them to be doing this without Josh Norris and for a lot less time doing it without Tim Stützle, wow, super impressive for DJ Smith. And I do think that we're going to have to start giving him a lot of credit with what's gone on over the last while. The Ottawa Senators, 8-2-1 in their last 11 games. And more to come. All right. Why don't I wrap up with a little touch on the game I just watched? Jesus. That's tough. It's really tough. I was so fired up to run over here, get on the ice, dapped up Igor before the game. I said, don't break a stick out there. He broke 2 last time he was here. First shift, he breaks a stick on a power play. I was like, come on. Are you guys serious? So then they score shorthanded. The Moose do. And the Moose are a good team. They're missing some guys too, but they're a good team. It was 3-0, 12 minutes in. Belleville actually outshot Manitoba in this game by quite a bit. I'm pulling it right now. By the way, 6-2 loss. Manitoba wins. It was 5-0 a minute and a half into the second period. So you're like, okay. Matt Sogard allowed 4 goals on 13 shots. Not great. Arvid Holm at the other end allowed 2 goals on 38 shots. So Belleville outshot Manitoba 38-26 in this game, but got absolutely beat. It's 5-0, 5-1, 6-1 to start the period. The only bright spot that I really have here is Ridley Gregg. Ridley Gregg was pretty solid here tonight. He had a goal right down the wing. Nah, Ryan, I don't work for the Moose. I'm just a friend of David Foote. So he had me on Belleville radio. Belleville Senators Radio Network, they call it. So just, yeah, I am the Moose. Funny enough, my first ever goalie helmet, I was a big Johan Hedberg fan. Don't ask why. I don't know. But my first ever helmet was the Moose. So almost a little foreshadowing. But yeah, I'm calling both games this weekend. I'm going to be color commentary with David Foote, who does a great job play-by-play. So yeah, yearly tradition it's becoming. I did it last March as well. So I'll be doing that until they tell me I can't do it anymore because I'm having a lot of fun doing that. Pilsy and I, right out of school, actually worked for Belleville. So not the Moose, Belleville. We'd make the drive from Toronto. We'd work 3 hours at minimum wage, and then we'd stop at Wendy's at the way home and basically spend like an hour of our 3-hour wage, and we'd spend the other hour on gas, and then we'd pocket like $20. It was great, but it certainly helped us gain an understanding for the organization and make some connections. So we do appreciate it a lot. So yeah, lots of excitement coming out from the Ottawa Senators today. How are we feeling against Minnesota? We'll have a preview in the morning for you. And then we'll have the postcast. Everyone will be involved in the postcast tomorrow. But yeah, it's a great time to be an Ottawa Senators fan. And you don't think that that's something we could have said a month ago, right? Like it really is impressive how they've turned this around. Ryan asking, do you think Ostapchuk or Greg will get a call up in the new year? Well, Ryan, for Ostapchuk, he's got to finish his year down in Vancouver in the WHL. But at the end of the year, I could more so see him coming to Belleville. Whereas for Ridley Gregg, like, I love his habits. I love like the way he plays the game. He's still getting pushed. He's still getting pushed around a little bit. So I want to see him finish the year in Belleville. Kind of like the Josh Norris, right? Like, play the full year, maybe 2 games. Maybe 2 games at the end of the year, and then we can talk. But I think the next guy up's got to be Igor. Igor looked good today. He even got into a little rough stuff at the end of the game. They just told him, "Hey, go take a hike." So he and one other guy, Cole Mayer of Manitoba, they both went out with about 2 minutes left. There's a huge hit, by the way, near the end of this game. Kyle Betts, one of the East Coast call-ups, he comes up and, hey, he stood up for his teammate. There's not much more you could ask, but this guy's like 5'10", and he's going up against a monster in Tyrell Bauer. So, yeah, and Joe's mentioning, like, it seems like Igor's been around for a while. He is, I believe, at 99 AHL points. I think his next point's going to be 100 because he got it tonight, but then they took it away and ended up giving Casty's hit on Sider was clean. Let's finish up with that. I actually didn't see that hit. That's something that wasn't on the condensed game, which is weird. I feel like the NHL, like, it's such a physical game. Everyone loves the physicality that the NHL has, but at the same time, then it's like on their condensed games, they don't show any hits or any fights. It's like, I thought we liked that. So anyways, that's just a problem, neither here nor there. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Really appreciate everyone jumping in the postcast as if I just talked 40 minutes to myself. That's hilarious. But hey, I'm all wound up. I love being able to call these games, and I love being able to share after every Ottawa Senators game with you guys. Thanks to our friends as well at the Glebe Central Pub. Let's get some Go Sens Goes in the chat. Pilsy, I know he's got a ton of things to say right now, and he's going to be able to do that tomorrow here on the Locked On Senators postcast. Yes, be here tomorrow afternoon. We will not make you wait as long until we get the postcast for you. Martian and Pilsy are going to start it, and then I'll jump on when I can. I got to go do the news updates and sports from 6 a.m. to noon. I'll walk over here, I'll broadcast the game, and I'll jump on with the fellas afterwards. And then, yes, 8 a.m. interview with Mark Mathot on Monday, and then we're actually interviewing Scott Wheeler on Monday as well, but that's going to drop on Boxing Day for a World Junior preview. Tuesday, yes, I'm working again all day, and then I'll be right here as I sign off from the Canada Life Center. I'll be sitting right there with Dr. Bob for Senators against the Winnipeg Jets. All right, thank you so much for making Locked On Senators your first listen each and every day and joining us in the postcast. We would be nothing without you, so we're going to have to keep rolling. I'll try to get a new outfit tomorrow as well. I know people are loving that, and no, Christine, I will not forget. We're going to be talking. Oh, that's awesome. Let's end off on a little happy note. We got some Timbits out there going and playing. So I'll leave them to it because I'm a little loud. So all good. No, I'm not going to be walking around tonight. We got the car. I'm in the suburbs, dude. It's all good. I'm by the Assiniboine Park for anybody who knows Winnipeg. So nice little area over there near Charleswood. Appreciate everyone. It's a 6-3 win for the Ottawa Senators. They've won 4 in a row. Can they get their biggest win streak of the season? We'll find out tomorrow. And then tune in to the Locked On Senators postcast where we'll have your immediate reaction. Thank you so much. Make sure to drop a like as well. Thumbs up goes a long way for us. And you've been listening to the postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. We'll chat tomorrow. It's your team every day.